Today's episode is quite literally a mental health check-in. Are we okay? Are we surviving? Welcome back to Human. My name is Jessica Jane, but you can call me Jess, and I'm the host of this podcast called Human to Human, and we have been relaunched for the past few weeks, so thank you for joining in on our third episode back. It's so nice to be here. At this point, January's over. Thank fucking God. That is the longest month. I think it actually technically is. Jessica, it is. It's 31 days. It feels like it was never gonna end. And golly Jesus, was it a journey. I felt like it got to a point where every day was just like, I just simply need to do things for my mental health to fight the winter blues and to try to be somewhat okay. And so if that was you, you're not alone. If you're living in Canada, if you're in Toronto, if you're in the United States, we're not even gonna get political around here, but like, what the actual effing shit is going on? Anywho, wow, what a dull start to the episode. But I just wanted to be real, wanted to be honest. So yeah, we're not getting political, but we're going to get weatherical. We're going to talk about the weather. We're going to talk about my journey getting a flip phone and no longer having it anymore. But first, just like a mental health check-in. Obviously, you cannot respond to me right now, and I really wish you could. I'm having this experience a lot when I teach reformer Pilates as well, where I'm like telling stories or a joke and like people like give me a laugh or a nod, but I'm like, God, I wish you could just reply to me. I love you, and I don't want this always to be one-sided. Anywho, that's the whole point of a podcast, Jessica. And hopefully it makes you feel like you're just talking to a friend and you don't have to say anything. So you just get to go about your day right now, feel like someone's keeping you company, and you don't have to say a goddamn thing. Beautiful. Peaceful. It's a Tuesday when I'm recording this, and Tuesday's my self-care day at this moment. Tuesday is my let's do a little bit of actual physical care that we neglect all the time, because I felt like I was always on the catch-up end of things. For example, by the time I finally shaved my legs, it was like they were so deeply overgrown that I'm like, I feel not cute. And same with my chin hair, same with my unibrow. And my hair is like fried at the ends because I spend so much time in a sauna. So Tuesday is the day, same with my toenails. Like if I have, let the toenail polish go for weeks and weeks and weeks, Tuesday is the day I refresh them. And I'm really enjoying that it's a Tuesday when I do it, because I work Sunday, I work a really long day on Monday. Tuesday I have off for now. And it's just a little bit of intentional time with myself of like, if we're going to do it, let's do it all. And I'm trying to add watering my plants to the Tuesday activity. So I'm looking forward to doing my hair mask later today, doing a little bit of self-care. And it gives me a moment to sort of pause and regroup. And it's a lot that's going on. And the beginning of 2026, there was like multiple mental breakdowns I've had on the regular, and really big wake-up calls, honestly. Like, there's a lot of stuff we can't control right now, but there is some stuff we can control. One, if we're moving our body. Two, if we're taking care of our mental health. And so I got to the point with my meltdowns where I had like 2 in 1 week, and I used to have a lot more. I used to be an absolute roller coaster, and so I really take pride in having less mental breakdowns, but I find they give us a lot of knowledge, and they really like teach us things, so I do appreciate them, and I know that they're needed from time to time, but I consider myself doing well when I don't have a mental breakdown that often. Maybe like a good cry once a week, or depends where I'm at in my cycle, maybe a meltdown once a month, maybe even more spread out, depends on the season, right? And so for the first time in a while, I have had a lot, to the point where I'm crying in front of people. And that's when it gets a little bit alarming for me, because if I'm crying in front of Josh, it's like a completely different story. If I'm crying in front of my mom, completely different story. Those are like my safest people in the world. But I was crying in front of collectively my mom, my brother, and my brother's girlfriend, and my dad, who was in the living room. You know what I mean? That's like an audience of cries. And then it got worse. A couple days later, I wasn't sleeping and I just felt like shit and I had to work the next morning and I couldn't stop crying on my way to work. I showed up to work, could not stop crying when I arrived to work. So not only did I have an audience of my family a couple days before, but then I had an audience of my coworkers, and bless them, bless the people in my life. I actually am like working through not only a lot of like muscle tension, but like emotional tension. And I'm like, so fucking grateful for the support I feel like I have. And that's one of the things I researched as I'm working through this like deep knot in my back that I've had probably for like 10 years, on and off, yikes. But it's really flaring up right now. And in Louise Hay's book, How to Heal Your Life, the whole like reframe for muscle tension in your shoulder blade, like deep, like in that area, was like, you don't feel supported. You feel like you have to carry everything on your back. You can't feel like you can, lean on other people. You feel like you have to hold everybody up around you. And so I've really been trying to like release the need to hold everyone, which is hard because I'm literally a facilitator is how I make money. I hold metaphorical space, like in a sauna or in a workout space. Like I hold space for people to like feel what they need to feel and like allow themselves to turn their brains off, and I will make the decisions for them, and I will tell them what they can do, and I'll take deep breaths with them, and I'll tell them to pulse, and like, so it's a weird experience. But as I'm reflecting, I'm like, oh, so relieved that I can, cry to the people close to me. I can go to work and I get new little tidbits every time I get to talk to a coworker about my muscle pain, where they're like, maybe that's anger, or like, maybe you need to spend like a really good amount of time on a massage ball, rolling through it, breathing through it, letting emotions come up. So I just feel like I'm like soaking in love, knowledge, and support. And I think that's like what we need times 1,000 amidst winter, because it's rough out here. Okay. It's rough out here. And not only that, but like crying, I don't make it a habit of crying when I go to work. Cause after this, well, I'll say this thought first. Crying in front of people you've never cried in front of just shows you the love and support you have, which I really, really like appreciate, or at least, I mean, in my experience. Because crying in front of people can also be really triggering if you've had people say you're not allowed to cry. And I have people close to me who have experiences where people have been like, you are not allowed to cry, don't cry. And it's really sad because then you have to like work through that. And my dad kind of is like scared of crying, but my mom's always been so wonderful about it. And yeah, it shows you that you had support you didn't realize you had when you're vulnerable in that way. But also, when I cried in front of people at work, it was a huge wake-up call for me, where I was like, how far am I going to let this go? Like, how much am I going to keep pushing to try to be quote unquote okay when I'm crying at work? Like, that's a really big deal. Do you know what I mean? Like, especially, it's not like I can like go to the bathroom and cry and then go back to my desk and like not talk to anyone. Like, I have to teach a class, basically. I'm breaking down, and 10 minutes later I have to be like, welcome everyone. How are we doing today? Okay, great. And then like, and crazy enough, I teach my best classes on my worst days. I think I like release a lot of like, I care about what people think, and I just speak from my heart, obviously in a appropriate way. I don't say I'm having a bad day, but I end up teaching phenomenal classes, which is fucking awesome, I guess. But yeah, so I had just like a really big wake up call, and have just been making shifts in my life of just like how I am prioritizing my time and how I'm nurturing my own well-being and making sure like I'm having epiphanies. This is why I have a podcast. I'm having epiphanies every day. And this week's one was exercising in the morning is everything for me, no matter how much I don't want to do it. It's like minus 15 degrees outside. Obviously, I don't want to leave the house to go to a workout class, but like, how can I maybe do a couple workout classes a week and then like do an exercise video in my living room and just start my day off on a better foot? And then like a couple weeks ago, it was like, okay, what do I need to take off my plate? How am I holding space that is not sustainable for me? And yeah, it's like, that's the best we can really do with the process of all of this. And so that's kind of where I've been at the past few weeks. And just, I was at a point at the beginning of January where I could not explain how I was feeling other than like, I'm having problems with my brain. I am struggling with my brain. I mean, and maybe we'll get a bit more vulnerable and I won't be so vague, is that like one of the things I took off my plate was hosting yoga classes in my house. It was an incredible way to gain experience, but it was affecting my health at the end of the day, physically, emotionally, spiritually. Like, it was so beautiful by the end of the class and I would love it. And I'd be like, oh my God, I can't wait to do this again. But it would impact my every single day decisions in the most small, minute, insane ways. And I didn't realize until I just said, I can't do this anymore, and just like reached out to each of my individual community members, and they were so wonderful and encouraging. And it was like, I can't make salmon for dinner because people are coming over and I don't want it to smell bad. And then like, I can't put this thing here because I was just being such an insane perfectionist, which like makes sense. One, it's a fitness space, kind of. I wanted it to be as clean as humanly possible. And two, I am just, like this. So taking that off my plate has been one of the best decisions I've honestly ever made. And then just my back pain has been hitting a breaking point, and I've been really needing to slow down. And that's kind of like the physical health side of things. And I've just been needing to basically navigate regulating my nervous system, experiencing different ways that I need to activate different muscles, because I think one spot is overcompensating for others, and also what emotions am I storing in there. So the epiphany I had yesterday was helpful by a coworker. I think there's a lot of anger that I maybe have been holding on to for like a really long time, so that I need to like let go of. So on TikTok, I saw this thing where you can like, when you're laying in bed, like smack your hands down on the bed. And I did that before I went to bed last night. And it definitely helped like get rid of some stuff. Because like the way I was feeling before about my muscle pain was like, oh my God, I need to literally just like not exercise, not towel wave, not plank for a really long time. And then that was making my mental health so much worse because I wasn't exercising. So now I'm like, no, I think exercising helps. It's just I have to be like really, 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 really aware of what muscles I'm engaging and making sure like I'm doing things properly. And so far so good. But like, it's only been a little bit of doing this, but progress. We're just trying to do our fucking best out here. And I don't know if there was a point to what I was going with on that. And the last thing I'll say about this muscle stuff for now, because it's an ever-evolving journey, is that physio can only do so much. I found an incredible physio who's been really helpful, and then got recommended for a massage therapist who's been phenomenal, and she's a little bit more woo-woo, and I definitely need some woo-woo in my life. I just love that stuff. But at the end of the day, physio is only 30 minutes out of your week if you're going every week. And so there's only so much change that can happen in those 30 minutes. And what this wake-up call in the past month has been is that I need to take more accountability to shift things. At first, I was being so dramatic and I was like, oh, I need to change my whole life. My whole lifestyle needs to change. And like, bit by bit, Jess, fucking relax. Like one small change at a time. And last week I was like, whoa, I feel like these changes are really helping. But then I was a bit of a maniac on Saturday and Sunday, like editing a bunch of content. And I felt like all this tension come back into my traps and into my back and all this stuff. And so I'm like, okay, come back into doing a bit less on the to-do list, being a bit more grounded, and knowing that these things change with my cycle too. Like I'm ovulating right now. So I'm like, I think I'm talking faster today too. So like when I'm on my period or closer to my period, I definitely like need to chill like 10 times more. So riding with the flow of life, and not to mention we got 60 centimeters of snow. Okay. Obviously, this episode's coming out later than the live events. We got 60 centimeters of snow. So, like, and I live in a basement. It's hard not to feel like I'm quarantined sometimes. So pushing myself to go outside, not just for work, but for my own health, has been like so needed. Okay, so we're about 15 minutes in. Let's get to the point of this episode, which is flip phones. My boyfriend and I got flip phones in April of 2025, and I chose this kind of theme for this episode to tell this story now because it was rooted in struggling with our mental health. And I was scrolling and scrolling and scrolling and scrolling and scrolling. And I feel like I was really chaotic in my brain at this time. And I felt like I would like do things and then scroll and do things and then scroll. And I was feeling super agitated all the time. And similarly, Josh, my boyfriend, was feeling the same. And we started to kind of entertain this idea of like, what if we got flip phones and what if we gave it a try? Spoiler alert, I'm not using a flip phone anymore, but Josh is, which is very cool. He's still on the flip phone train. And so we were like, let's just try. Let's do a little bit of an experiment. Let's see what happens. And I used mine from April to about October. Both of us actually had to buy 2 flip phones only in the span of like that 5-6 month range because they ended up breaking. Like the amount of times you flip it up and flip it down, they're just not made to last. And so it would like break off and like hang off. And so we decided that second time, we were like, Kate, we're gonna buy another one. They're like $100. They shouldn't be. They should be like $50 even. And then what happened was, I think in October, I lost it. I like dropped it on my way to work and then couldn't find it. And honestly, at that point, I was done. And I'll explain why. And I was like, well, guess I'm done. And I had to go get a new SIM card and put it into my iPhone. So we like kept our iPhones. And the intention of getting the flip phone was to like be less accessible, to scroll less on our phones, to put our iPhones away for the majority of our days. And I struggled with that so much, and it got to a point where I was literally just using 2 phones, and I would have my iPhone connected to Wi-Fi. So obviously if I didn't have Wi-Fi, I couldn't use my iPhone. But here's the kicker. The flip phones had hotspot. So like, I remember at this time I would take the subway to work and I would end up just hotspotting my iPhone to scroll. And so it was just like, I got to a point where like, this was just fucking stupid. But I'll go all the way back to the beginning though. It was really exciting. And I feel like we felt really like promising about this. And we were like, we really, really want to like solve our phone addiction before we like grow up and eventually have kids one day. And then we don't want our kids to see us addicted to phones. So it was this like really deep, philosophical, overarching mission. But at the end of the day, for me, it became more trouble than it was worth. And the first beginning weeks were actually really challenging because people were trying to figure out like, do I call you on your phone number? Can I still iMessage you from your email iMessage? And it was a bit of a shit show. And Josh had his first experience of like being an inconvenience to his friend group because he like fucked up his whole friend group chat. And they were like super annoyed with him and he felt really, really weird about it. So that was kind of his biggest struggle point with the flip phone. And now he's like totally fine with it. He's also the type of person who like never has his phone charged. Do you know what I mean? So like he's a very inaccessible person, and having a flip phone has only made him more inaccessible. And I am too much of a people pleaser at this point in my life and have too much anxiety to not be accessible, honestly. And I worry too much about inconveniencing people and worry too much about what people think, and also like worry too much about like missing out on an important text. And so it was challenging. And also it was a really good experiment for me though, because when I was texting people on my flip phone, I realized how much I would over explain and try so hard to make a text like not hurt someone's feelings, even if I wasn't saying anything that even would hurt someone's feelings. Because when you're messaging on a flip phone, there's no emojis. I couldn't figure out how to even do an exclamation mark. You only can type so many words because it's like so hard to do it, and there's actually a limit. And so it was a really interesting experiment to realize how much I like over explain and try to like tip around people's feelings. And not only that, but when I would go out and about with my flip phone, I actually felt like really embarrassed to flip it up and use it. Like, and Josh doesn't. Like, he feels like a badass. And I haven't like dove into these feelings more, but like I took it on a trip I went on to Atlanta with my work, and I was like so embarrassed to have a flip phone. And I mean, there was other factors. I was already like the youngest of the group, and I'll probably do an episode about that experience because it was really cool. but I just really like struggled. And so I got to a point where I would just try and hide it. And I would try and just like, and I haven't like told anyone this because I haven't really explained in depth like why I got rid of it. Because once I lost it, I was like, I'm done. But it was like I would try and hide the moment where I would hotspot my flip phone to my iPhone. And then like, for example, be at an event and be like, okay, what's your Instagram? And I think it's just because it was like such a whole conversation about it. And I was like a hypocrite. I felt like I was living this life where I had this flip phone, but I was a hypocrite because I really was just using the flip phone to hotspot my iPhone. And my flip phone I made regular calls on it versus my iPhone, I would do like FaceTimes and stuff. And so it just like didn't make sense for me. But with Josh, it's like, it's not that it didn't make sense for me, but I just think in the nature of my career and how much I like to shoot content, and also just like, my phone addiction was still real. It didn't take it away. And I think the only way it really would is if you stayed dedicated to leaving your iPhone at home and not bringing your flip phone, or only bringing your flip phone with you, which is great, but it's also kind of unrealistic because like, see, I feel like I'm making excuses. As I say this, I'm literally like, but my work messages me and this and that. But you know what? Like, I'm not ashamed to say I tried and it didn't work, but also look at my partner, it does work for him. So everyone's different, and with some really fun, successful moments, which we are still leaning into, is like having phone-free time. And I will try to intentionally like put my phone away and not touch it for like, as I say this, I'm like, I need to do this way more. But Josh and I went on a secret trip in, June, I think, or even May. So it was like a month after we got our flip phones. I call it a secret trip because it was a trip that like he's always wanted to go on, a place I've been. And I'm allowed to keep things secret. The fuck? I don't need to tell you why it's a secret. And so we went on this trip and we had our iPhones and our flip phones, but we actually mostly just used our flip phones, and we would like Google Map on our iPhone where we needed to go before we went. And it was just really nice because it pushed us to be unplugged. And it also has really pushed us to use a proper camera. So my favorite trip we've actually gone on with our flip phones was we went to Tobermory. And we did like a 2-night camping trip, and I've never gone camping, and we were completely unplugged. I think only Josh brought his iPhone to use the GPS because he has a GPS in his car, but it kind of sucks. So we used his phone to GPS, but then we left it in the car the entire time. We only had our flip phones for 3 days, and we just had our camera, and it was so fun. And like I would send a flip phone selfie to my mom at one point being like, we arrived. And it just changes your life to be able to completely unplug and disconnect and just be with each other and not have this fucking thing that just forces you. It doesn't force you, but it feels like it forces you to scroll all the time. And so all of this to say, obviously it didn't work out for me, but I still really do want to live with this intention of being unplugged from my phone at least one day a week and allowing yourself to be present. And like genuinely, I think it's so fucked up how often we go on social media. And like, if I don't take a day off social media every week, I start to forget that it's not real life. Like Instagram is not real life, and yet we consume it so much that we start to think it's such a vital, crucial part of our day-to-day life and our society and like our experiences, and yet it's fake. It's all fake, right? And I say this and I post on Instagram, follow me at with Jessica Jane. What a weird time to plug. But it is just not real. And so I think our brains start to get so mixed up in that. And so this is why I'll never live in downtown Toronto again, because those buildings are fucking made by people. The noise is insane. The congestion's crazy. I don't think we're meant to be that close to each other. I think we're meant to live in community, but I don't think we're meant to be like that sandwiched in. And so for me, I'm like, I need to be in nature. After this, I'm going to go on a fucking walk. I need to like remember what's real. What is real and what's not. You look at nature and you're like, these problems don't matter to this tree. Sounds like an odd way to say it, but it's true. And so all of this to kind of come full circle is that like, sure, maybe flip phones didn't work for me, but it's the intention is still there in my life to slow down, to regulate my nervous system, to get out in nature, to be more present, to remember what's real, to connect, to laugh, to have human-to-human experiences. And I do respect and applaud and admire Josh's ability to be unplugged, to be inaccessible, and not feel guilty about it. Like, his sister will call me sometimes. I swear to God, his sister messages all the time in a group chat of me, him, and her, simply because there's probably more likely of a chance for her to get an answer out of him just because I saw that she messaged him. This happened last night. It happened for a cute reason, though. She just bought a house with her husband and sent the cutest video of them dancing together, being like, first night we got our keys. And I was on FaceTime with Josh and I was like, go watch the video your sister sent. And he was like, what video? She sent, I'm like, go watch. And it was so funny. But like, I just don't know yet how to be that chill. And he's not chill all the time. We've actually been having a lot of experiences and conversations lately where I'm like, you're not chill. Like, you're just not chill lately. And I want to see you chill because you are such a fun, chill person. And he's been, but we all go through seasons. We all go through different phases where we have different energy levels. We have different things going on. And it's okay. And you know what? It's not going to be winter forever. It's not going to be winter forever. And it's not going to be this cold forever. And things are going to be okay. And I'll end off on a positive here. I really also struggled at the beginning of 2026 because I had no trips booked, no big plans, nothing really to look forward to, no time off work. And I'm learning as an adult, you need to plan a week off somewhere in the future to look forward to, or else it's ongoing. It's never ending. When are you going to take a break? Burnout's going to get you in the ass, you know? And oh my God, I'm 24 and I'm about to be 25. I'm turning 25 on March 8th. And it's crazy that I won't be able to say I'm 24 anymore because I'm like, live it, feel it while you can. Because 25 feels different. 25 feels crazy. Everyone's like, you're so young, you're still so young, whatever. But 25 does feel different. And I just was having these moments where I was like, I'm turning 25 and like, what am I doing for my birthday? And my boyfriend and I are celebrating, this is fucking crazy. We're celebrating 5 years being together and we're not getting engaged. So don't get your hopes up. And I'm just like, we have nothing planned to celebrate. And like, Josh has a lot of his own stuff going on this year, a ton of stuff that like, it just has nothing to do with me. So I can't make plans with him because he can't think past next week, just how he is in general, but especially this year. And so I am so fucking excited because I was walking on the treadmill and I feel like the way I am is I'm always like late to the party on when artists like announce tours or announce new albums. Like, I'm the person who listens to the album like 3 months later than it was released. So I'm so proud of myself. During the crazy snowstorm day we had in January, I was walking on the treadmill on my dad's office feeling fucking cooped up in this house. And I remembered that people had been posting about Harry Styles. And I love Harry Styles. And when he had his last tour for Harry's house, I just remember seeing so many TikToks about it. And I just finished watching the Taylor documentary. If you listened to last week's episode, you'll know this. And I'm just like, I didn't go to the Eras tour. I feel like I'm always late to the fucking party, or I don't try hard enough to get a ticket. For Taylor's, like, I didn't try that hard to get a ticket. I was just like, oh, well, shucks. And so I was like, fuck this. Oh my God, I figured it out right on time. Tomorrow morning, Harry's announcing his tour. I'm like, I'm getting tickets. I'm trying for Amsterdam and I'm trying for London. Amsterdam pre-sale came on sale at 5 a.m. and 8 a.m. And I woke up at like 8:05 and I was like, just felt like I was already too late. But then 9 a.m. was London. So I'm going to Wembley Stadium in June. I'm going to go fucking see Harry Styles. And it feels crazy I'm going to Wembley because I'm like, I'm starting to learn how big this venue is from Taylor Swift's Eras tour. And now I'm like, oh my God, like, I'm planning a fucking solo Europe trip. And this is something I've wanted to do for a really long time, but I'm not a traveler yet. I'm going to become a traveler. When I went to Atlanta, I'll talk about this more in the Atlanta episode. Okay, I won't get too into it. Subscribe so you don't miss a new episode when it comes out. I will talk about Atlanta. I will talk about my trip because I don't want, you know what? We'll leave it at that. What a fucking cliffhanger. But hey, we'll leave it at 30 minutes. That was just a tease, if you will. I'll finish the thought though. I needed something to look forward to feel like I could get through winter. if you want to hear more about this solo trip I'm planning, tune in next week. I don't know if it'll be next week's episode, but I will do one about it soon. Thank you so much for listening. What a savage way to end. I love you. I hope you're doing okay. Go hug someone you love or go outside and stare at the sky. Even better if it's nighttime. It feels like the time you shouldn't go outside and stare at the sky is the perfect time. I actually prefer to go stare at the sky at night. I love nighttime. I actually sometimes struggle in the summer because nighttime is so late. Keep up with me on Instagram at @WithJessicaJane, but give yourself an Instagram break if you can. All right. Yeah, and I think that's all from me. No book updates yet. I still need to fucking work on that thing. Okay, talk to you soon. And shout out to Ben for editing this episode. If you have a podcast and need an editor, need a post-production person, Ben Rowland. Okay, bye.